What's up, people of the internet? It is Dave, it is Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the album from San Diego punk quartet Negative Blast. Band's new album, Destroy Myself for Sun, will be released on November 14th via 31G and Vitriol. Formed in San Diego during the depths of the pandemic, when longtime buds Rayner and Alexander began trading riffs and ideas in isolation. Jack Belly and bassist Patrick Calloway were touring buddies in their respective bands Lewd and Hour of the Wolf during the early 2000s hardcore punk renaissance. Within 2 weeks of Rain and Alex jamming ideas, Pat relocated from Chicago to San Diego, cementing the songwriting core of the band. Jacobelli, who operates Sun 6 Studios in La Mesa, engineered and mixed the band's early recordings, allowing Negative Blast to develop and release material quickly. Their first EP, The First 4 Months, was followed by Demo 002. Initial shows featured Sam Rich on drums before the group began work on their first LP, Echo Planet, released through Quiet Panic Records. Midway through the record, Calloway reached out to Mario Rubalcaba, who joined on
names, man. Let's not do them. Mario.
With Mario, the band released a split with LA hardcore act Sweat via Vitriol Records.
Genuinely thought you were going to say LL Cool J there. I was like, what?
In 2025, drummer Hunter Martinez stepped in as a permanent member. His energy is captured on the band's upcoming full-length, Destroy Myself for Fun. Negative Blast's live resume includes sharing stages with Botch, Unsane, Def Club, The Bled, Finch, Darkest Hour, Swing Kids, Lower Class Brats, The Bronx, CU, Space Cowboy, Loma Prieta, Sight of Caterpillar, High Viz, and 7 Seconds, among others.
Right, is there any names no in that press statement? Holy shit!
Did I? I'm just wondering here. Yeah, I think I said the album was called Destroy Myself for Sun earlier on, but I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah, it's 100% for fun, Dave. Not for sun. You like sun? Destroy myself for the sun, for Ra, the god of the sun.
I've actually written down sun.
No, it's for fun, Dave. Yeah. You destroy yourself for fun.
Definitely for fun, yeah.
Fun,
The album was recorded at Sun 6 Studios by the band's own Alex Jacobelli, and then mastered by Brad Boatwright from Audio Siege.
We love you, Brad.
Brad, you're the fucking man. Okay, so we had the pleasure of reviewing the band's debut album, Echo Planet, back in 2023.
Long time ago. I can still remember. I can't remember. My age is creeping up with me.
Well, it was only 19 minutes of music, Duncan, so...
That's probably why.
I'll forgive you.
If it lasts twice as long as it takes me to shag my missus, and I will forget, Dave.
Twice?
I will forget. Twice as long, yeah. Times. I'm an old man now. There ain't no way we're doing 3.
3 times a lady, Duncan.
Is that what that means? You know that's what that song means?
That's what that means.
You shag her 3 times in a row.
I know a horny bastard, I'm telling you.
It's before Viagra as well.
Sexy bastard. Yeah, so 2023, so 2 years on, Duncan, we're back for the band's brand new album, Destroy Myself for Fun.
Fun, not sun.
Not sun.
Who is the sun?
Doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you make of this return of Negative Blast?
So you almost have me guaranteed in. I mean, when I say in, guaranteed. You almost have me guaranteed in when your album starts with Since, right? I'm shallow, right? I'm shallow. I'm so I am shallower than a teaspoonful of water. I'm shallower than a kiddie's play pool, Dave. That's how shallow I am. You give me opening Since it sound like what comes after it should be Transformers, robots in disguise. Now I'm hard as the Dickens.
The Dickens.
Literally what kicks off. I swear to God, I was saying Transformers is that punk riff coming. And I was like, Transformers, and that's not right. So yeah, Negative Blaster is a kind of, to me, they were a blink and you miss it from before. I remember the album. I don't remember the songs, right? It's like I think we've already said today, you get a vague memory of what an album artwork actually looks like, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's the thing that I listened to. I remember that. So to me, this really was a kind of, I'm going to sit down and play this as if I had never heard a Negative Blast album before. I couldn't even remember much of what you just said in terms of the PR, but to me, I thought they were much further on in their career. Just from listening to this is very, very, very accomplished, very, very, very self-assured of its identity, and there's no airs, no graces, and it really doesn't fuck around at all. Of the albums you've reviewed in this batch of 5 albums, this is the shortest by almost half any other album here. It's 21 minutes-ish of just really great hardcore punk. I mean, they have all the nostalgia, all the gimmick, but with a fucking production that is just the fucking production's so good. One, you've got like really, really tight, really like nice, crisp sounding guitars. You have like a punchy drum production. You've got that vocal that sits kind of behind the guitar, but it's not too far away that the guitar overshadows it. It sits just behind it with a kind of roomy feel to it, so it kind of commands a space. It's really cool. I love his tone. I loved his tone before. I love his tone now. It's just is the epitome of you asked me to describe what a kind of savage punk vocalist sounds like. That's the dictionary definition, isn't it? If it's not, then what are we doing here, Dave? We've interestingly enough, my headspace has been clambering for something like this more recently because you've been giving me some fucking heavy albums recently, Dave. My brain has been pummeled. But also, we had the chance to most recently review the new Lewd album from Norwegian young upstart, clearly too talented to be that age punkers. Lewd, L-U with an umlaut, T. And they released an album that we both kind of fawned over. We're like, this is so much fun, and it's kind of punky, and it's energetic, and it's up, and it kind of drags you up. And then we went away from that and did loads of other stuff and never really revisited anything like that again. We've done a lot of death metal, Dave. We've done a lot of post-metal. We've done a lot of progressive stuff. We've done a lot of savage industrial sludge, but what we've not done is a lot of kind of hardcore punk, which is interesting because that's your background. This to me is very similar to the previous album. There's no airs or graces here. It really just kind of hits it and carries right through. As such, it there's not even a in between songs. It is literally track finish, track start, track finish, track start. If you're not paying attention, which I want to do, you may forget that tracks have changed because it's that the break is that seamless into it. I will say this: I think, in terms of sound, this feels like a fuller band sound. This album feels a little bit more refined, a little bit more accomplished. Even when you listen to tracks like New Age, for example, that track in itself feels like that couldn't have been on the previous album. It's a little bit more kind of thrusty, feels like there's more emphasis on the kind of bass frequencies at the front compared to other tracks. And it's just a sound that, interestingly enough, almost at the halfway mark breaks the album up because everything up to that's all been just hammering right through. That track, placed the way it is, slows the album down in an interesting way. The production feels a bit thicker. It just levels it out a little bit more. And I'm assuming if you're Dave, you're calculating what side of the vinyl that concludes, and you switch around. And then you get the back half, which kicks off with Future Rock, which has a bit of the Scandi about it. It does have a kind of quasi covert attack influence is sprinkled over. Vocally, though, it is about as traditional punk as you're going to get with us. All it's missing is back and forth and going, wow, that's all it's missing. we've also in the last couple of weeks been listening to a bit of Creeper. And that's put me, because we're Halloween, I put me in the mood to go back through. And Creeper have a lot of, like early Creeper as well, have a lot of those kind of American punky vibes, kind of Americana punky vibes. And I was in the right head space. It really, really, really works. The back of the album is just as strong as the front half, even though it experiments a little bit more with pace. Like, it's not as upfront. It understands it's really... no easy way to say the shot is load in the first 3 songs. It's kind of at this point just pacing itself to the next one. So it's coasting through. There's a lot more to like here in terms of switch ups. There's an emphasis on hooks as well, interestingly, in this one, where I don't know if there was as much of an emphasis that in the previous one as there was for just like energy and kind of confrontation. And this one, the hooks are more prominent, specifically in the guitar. But even the vocals have really interesting stabs that you can imagine audiences singing along with at certain bits. Like, the next 4 syllables are yours. Bah, 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 right, on to the next bit. It's really, really, really cool. It continues on. Like, Infested also feels like a track you wouldn't have got previously. It is another track that kind of levels in a little bit more of those kind of bassier frequencies. Something a little bit short, sharp, right to the point. Kind of almost plays with negative space more than anything else. It's really cool. And then the last track's called Denial. I thought it was a Seven Dust cover. I couldn't wait. It's not a Seven Dust cover. It is in fact the longest song on this album, and an eye-watering 3.5 minutes. It's just really cool. It's rapturous. It has a ton of fucking energy. It made me want to like throw the mug that I was drinking my coffee out of 2 days ago against a window and call someone a cunt. Like, I love it. I'll put it this way: there's no frills with a band like this, right? And I think they have mastered the idea of keep it short. I think longer form, I think 25, 30 minutes, I think this loses a bit of its appeal to me. I think they cram a lot in, and it never really feels tiresome, even though they are, at times, creating sounds between tracks that are very, very similar. There's enough personality, there's enough switch up, or there's an element added where it's like experiment a little bit bassier, or stripping things out and let things have a little bit more room to breathe. Those moments on the album are well placed enough to kind of really give it purchase. Like, you can come back and listen to this and go, right, I can't wait to track 4. You're waiting for it as it's working through. I don't know if I felt as much about the previous album that way as I kind of felt like, no, you just had to like press play, strap in, and you get to the end without necessarily delineating between what is actually delivered on the tracks, where I feel there's a much more conscious effort from a songwriting perspective to do that here. Yeah, production's great, ton of fun, loads of energy, loads of attitude, and if I didn't say this before in the previous review, which I probably should have checked out, I will say this, that it doesn't surprise me they've toured with that list of bands you've mentioned, because this feels like a band you could just put on and they'll command the crowd, they'll get everyone up, they'll get everyone moving, and then you're ready to go out on stage. They feel like the perfect band to just get people up. This is movement music at its very definition. So
cool.
How did you get on, Dave? Oh, master of the punk. Oh my! I keep just giving you these. You listen to a lot of music before I listen to music. Well, you listen to a lot of heavier music before I listen to a lot of music, and as a result, you can liken things to Red Web, the Mole Round Boards, to other bands. But if memory serves, you did enjoy the previous.
I did.
Negative Blast album. Did this as a more mature out, and if I've stolen your words, I apologise.
No.
This is a more mature. I'm determined that we're going to make this longer than the album review right here. Did this float your boat, or did this sink off the coast of Hawaii?
Well, I think on the previous review of Echo Planet, I said this is just the start. I think this band have more in the tank, Duncan.
You said that, Dave.
And I don't want to humble brag here, but turns out
But I was right all along.
more in the tank, Duncan. Like starting with the very first thing you hear on the album, which is goddamn synths, man.
You do. Transformers.
Like what the hell? But very cleverly used as well. The melody of the synth kind of intro then becomes the kind of main melody line of the guitars, and it's a bit of a banger, to be honest. It's I think I can't remember which one of us it was, but in the previous review, one of us mentioned that it had kind of this energy of like the Cancer Bats. But I must say the opening track of this gave me quite a bit of that Cancer Bats kind of swagger. Very, especially in the guitars, like they almost kind of use the guitar as another form of melody, and it instantly gets you on board with the album. I was in on track one of this.
I can tell you right now, if without having listened to the album in like what 3 years, if you ask me right now to like give me the guitar riff for Hail Destroyer, I can do it. Right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the beauty of the Cancer Bats is the riff is almost the melody.
Yep. And Negative Blast, like they aren't the type of band that will just like hit you with like 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks of the same thing. Track 2 moves away from the kind of catchy punk rock kind of tone for now, and then kind of ups the intensity a bit. Missing Link is much more of a like a kind of Black Flag type kind of rager. It's old school, it's visceral, it's under 2 minutes. It's like the sort of track that would ask you for spare change and then steal your wallet. It's like that kind of that kind of feel to it. But then as you move into that kind of like back into the kind of punk rock kind of ripper that is Mac Dog, you really kind of start to notice, or I really start to notice, that how much Negative Blast have really sharpened up their sound on this release. This is tight, it's much more focused than before. There's not an ounce of fat on this. And I don't mean like they've like fallen into predictable kind of trappings or anything like that with this album. Like they still like to keep you on your toes, and every now and again they'll just slightly push things in a slightly different direction, and that became more apparent on track 4, which was New Age, where the guitars sound like they've been pumped with steroids. It's like thick, absolute thick tone. It's still rooted in that kind of like punk tempo and rhythm, but there's this like extra kind of layer of abrasive kind of sludgy kind of noise rock running through it, which just gives it even more snarl, especially when they slow it down towards the end. It kind of reminded me of a band called Whores. I've got that kind of like sludgy kind of noise rock kind of hybrid, which was really cool. And then Future Rock swings back towards the kind of the punk rock. For me, there was a kind of dash of like kind of Danko Jones in there, a bit of that kind of catchiness to it, but also a little bit of kind of garage punk coming through, which completely makes sense when you hear I'm in Love, and they lean into that kind of garage punk sound even more. So like you can hear they cleverly set up the changes. Like it never feels like they've jumped awkwardly into a new style. It's always like teased, even if it's slightly on the track before or a couple of tracks before, they'll like kind of drop something in just to plant the seed, and then they'll lean into it more later on. And then when Infested comes in with that kind of thicker like guitar tone again that we heard on New Age, it completely works because they've already kind of set the kind of the foundations for it. And then they close on Denial, which is like an absolute fucking banger of a track. Punky, angsty, plenty of venom and spit, and just also again some really nice touches of melody in the guitars, a little bit of clean vocals right at the end, which was a nice surprise, and something that they also teased on Echo Planet. Just that small part, we're like, oh, maybe they'll do more of that in the next album.
No,
we won't.
Like Davey gets one thing right, that there's more in the tank. He doesn't get more extra melody. It's exactly the same amount.
Fuck you, Dave. No more clean melody. Production is excellent. Alex Giacobelli has knocked it out of the park. Guitars are just really snarling on this. The bass is thick as a brick. drums are punchy, just captures the real kind of raw energy of the band. And then Brad just, seasons it to perfection at the end. Yeah, this is another excellent release from Negative Blast. My only two complaints are, firstly, where the fuck is the cowbell on this album?
Yeah.
Come on, guys, drop the ball there. Cowbell on every album. And the other thing
Watch
was
Dave morph into Christopher Walken here. No.
The other thing, they start the album with that synth loop, and then they never
do it again. It is a pet peeve. I'll be honest, it is a pet peeve, but it did make me sing the words Transformers a little more.
Yeah. I felt like maybe there was an opportunity maybe to tie that back up with using the synth later on, but even with those small moans, this album still absolutely fucks. Negative Blast, man, keep doing what you're doing. Last thing, ratings for Destroy Myself for Fun. Duncan, what are you thinking for this one?
I am overjoyed that this review is now longer than the album. So I will happily tell you that I believe my previous review was 4.
Yeah.
And I'm coming in 4.5. I think it is merited. I think it's awesome. I think it is bitchin'.
Yep. I will double down on that. And 4.5 from me as well. Yeah, great album. Out on November 14th on 31G and Vitriol. Check out the links to the band, the pre-order, have a listen, see what you think. I'll stick one of the singles in there. That is the review. Thank you for checking out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Don't touch me!